She asked him about the races. He answered her questions, and, seeing that she was agitated, trying to calm her, he began telling her in the simplest tone the details of his preparations for the races. Tell him or not tell him? She thought, looking into his quiet, affectionate eyes. He is so happy, so absorbed in his races that he won't understand as he ought, he won't understand all the gravity of this fact to us. But you haven't told me what you were thinking of when I came in, he said, interrupting his narrative. Please tell me. She did not answer, and, bending her head a little, she looked inquiringly at him from under her brows, her eyes shining under their long lashes. Her hand shook as it played with a leaf she had picked. He saw it, and his face expressed that utter subjection, that slavish devotion, which had done so much to win her. I see something has happened. Do you suppose I can be at peace, knowing you have a trouble I am not sharing? Tell me, for God's sake, he repeated imploringly. Yes, I shan't be able to forgive him if he does not realize all the gravity of it. Better not tell, why put him to the proof? She thought, still staring at him in the same way, and feeling the hand that held the leaf was trembling more and more. For God's sake, he repeated, taking her hand. Shall I tell you? Yes, yes, yes. I'm with child, she said, softly and deliberately. The leaf in her hand shook more violently, but she did not take her eyes off him, watching how he would take it. He turned white, would have said something, but stopped. He dropped her hand, and his head sank on his breast. Yes, he realizes all the gravity of it, she thought, and gratefully she pressed his hand. But she was mistaken in thinking he realized the gravity of the fact as she, a woman, realized it. On hearing it, he felt come upon him with tenfold intensity that strange feeling of loathing of someone. But at the same time, he felt that the turning point he had been longing for had come now, that it was impossible to go on concealing things from her husband, and it was inevitable in one way or another that they should soon put an end to their unnatural position. But, besides that, her emotion physically affected him in the same way. He looked at her with a look of submissive tenderness, kissed her hand, got up, and, in silence, paced up and down the terrace. "Yes," he said, going up to her resolutely. "Neither you nor I have looked on our relations as a passing amusement, and now our fate is sealed." "It is absolutely necessary to put an end." He looked round as he spoke, "to the deception in which we are living. Put an end? How put an end, Alexei?" she said softly. She was calmer now, and her face lighted up with a tender smile. "Leave your husband and make our life one." "It is one as it is," she answered, scarcely audibly. "Yes, but altogether, altogether." "But how, Alexei, tell me how?" she said in melancholy mockery at the hopelessness of her own position. "Is there any way out of such a position?" "Am I not the wife of my husband?" "There is a way out of every position." "We must take our line," he said. "Anything's better than the position in which you're living." "Of course, I see how you torture yourself over everything, the world and your son and your husband." "Oh, not over my husband," she said, with a quiet smile. "I don't know him, I don't think of him." "He doesn't exist." "You're not speaking sincerely." "I know you. You worry about him too." "Oh, he doesn't even know," she said, and suddenly a hot flush came over her face, her cheeks, her brow, her neck crimsoned, and tears of shame came into her eyes. "But we won't talk of him." Chapter 23. Vronsky had several times already, though not so resolutely as now, tried to bring her to consider their position, and every time he had been confronted by the same superficiality and triviality with which she met his appeal now. It was as though there were something in this which she could not or would not face, as though directly she began to speak of this, she, the real Anna, retreated somehow into herself, and another strange and unaccountable woman came out, whom he did not love, and whom he feared, and who was in opposition to him. But today he was resolved to have it out. "Whether he knows or not," said Vronsky, in his usual quiet and resolute tone, "that's nothing to do with us. We you cannot stay like this, especially now. What's to be done, according to you? She asked with the same frivolous irony. She who had so feared he would take her condition too lightly was now vexed with him for deducing from it the necessity of taking some step. Tell him everything, and leave him. Very well, let us suppose I do that, she said. Do you know what the result of that would be? I can tell you it all beforehand, and a wicked light gleamed in her eyes, that had been so soft a minute before. You love another man, and have entered into criminal intrigues with him? Mimicking her husband, she threw an emphasis on the word criminal, as Alexey Alexandrovitch did. I warned you of the results in the religious, the civil, and the domestic relation. You have not listened to me. Now I cannot let you disgrace my name, and my son, she had meant to say, but about her son she could not jest, disgrace my name, and then more in the same style, she added. In general terms, he'll say in his official manner, and with all distinctness and precision, that he cannot let me go, but will take all measures in his power to prevent scandal. And he will calmly and punctually act in accordance with his words. That's what will happen. He's not a man, but a machine, and a spiteful machine when he's angry, she added, recalling Alexey Alexandrovitch as she spoke, with all the peculiarities of his figure and manner of speaking, and reckoning against him every defect she could find in him, softening nothing for the great wrong she herself was doing him. But, Anna, said Vronsky, in a soft and persuasive voice, trying to soothe her, we absolutely must, anyway, tell him, and then be guided by the line he takes. What, run away?